Hello YouTube. So here is the so talked about anticipated Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra. I got my hands on it and I'm gonna review it for you today. So let's put the watch to one side and start with the band. This is the band that came with. It's made out of silicone and it is okay band. Um, Rather high-end materials. If you look very carefully, which you will not be able to see on the video, but right over here it says titanium. So I'm guessing that all the metal parts of the band are made out of titanium. Woohoo! And here it says Samsung, which just um, I guess makes it be original. The little hook over here, it's rather difficult to move around, although you can, but that's a good thing actually, because that means that once the watch is on, it's not gonna be sliding around too much. And just one more little detail. I guess that band is just universal because it over here says S, M, and L, which I guess it stands for small, medium, and large. Um, it has two hooks. It has two pins in order to keep the watch in place, and the other side has not much to it. The band feels very sturdy. I think it's gonna hold up well over time. And yeah, so that's about the band. Let's put it aside and look at the watch. So here's the watch. It's off right now. I want to turn it on for you. But here's the watch. I'm gonna give you a nice view of all sides. So here's a view of the button sides. So we have home button. That center button, they call it the action button, which it can be programmed to perform a few different things. But a little bit later, I'll say a few more words about that. And the other button is the back button, which also can be programmed. All the buttons can be programmed, but there are some limitations to that. So on this side we have the band connection mechanism. On this side we have the speakers and microphone. I believe that one of these is a speaker and the other one is a microphone. There are not two speakers on that. A tiny little hole here, which I have no idea what it does. And there is also, this is the other side with the band mechanism. And by the way, there's another little hole here and another little hole here. There are a bunch of little holes all over the place. Well, not a bunch, only 3 of them. But I suspect, well, guess what? There's another one here. I suspect those are some kind of sensors, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so this is the back side of the watch where we can see the sensors. They measure your heart rate, your pulse, your blood pressure, although that has to be calibrated with an actual blood pressure device, and oxygen level in your blood and a bunch of other stuff. If you look very carefully here, there is very faint writing. One, it says the serial number, I think, and then it says Samsung. And then it says sapphire crystal, which is the front glass. I guess it's made out of sapphire crystal. Although I'm a little bit skeptical how pure the sapphire is. And then it says LTE and GPS and something else, which and then it says 10 ATM, which is 10 atmospheres. That's the water resistance. I think this is rated up to 100 meters of water resistance. Then we have the little band release mechanism here, the buttons, and on each side. And it's important to note that the entire body of the watch is made out of metal, and I think it's titanium. The sides, in my case, are painted in white, and it kind of looks like just the back of the watch, and the front is metal and the side is plastic. But no, it's all plastic. It's all metal. Better not be plastic for the price. It's all metal, but it's just painted with some kind of a paint that makes it feel like plastic. But if we knock on it, actually I've tested it with my teeth, and you can kind of feel textures with your teeth, and it's definitely not plastic, it's metal. So yeah, that's all about the build. The build seems pretty sturdy. I've had it for a few days, and I've already dropped it twice on tiles, and the second time it felt straight on the back. It felt boom, just like that. It felt right on the sensors, and nothing happened to it. I was a little worried that it might be cracked, but it actually survived. So we can say that this is a pretty sturdy watch. So to put the bands on, it depends on which side you want the buttons to be. I like to wear my watch on my right hand, so it's fairly simple. Some people say that you have to press on this little button here in order to connect the band, but actually if you just force it in there and it snaps in place and it's connected, and then do the same on the other side and it's connected. Maybe if you do it the first few times it's gonna feel a little bit stiff, but over time the mechanism just starts to work better. So that's how the watch looks with the band on. So let's turn it on, and we immediately see the Samsung logo. And after a few seconds, I will show you some of the software features. Okay, cool. So now we have the watch powered on, and this is one of the stock watch faces it came with. I have mine set up with the always on display. When it's in the always on display, it will look like that. And then you have two options here. You can either bring it up to your face in order to wake up, or you can just touch it and then it wakes up. I prefer this because otherwise the battery drains way too quickly. So it looks white, and then you have the seconds hand, and if you want to quickly put it back into the always on display, all you have to do is cover it with your hand, which covers some light sensor, and it reverts back to the always on display. So let's go through some of the features. Like I said, the buttons on the side can be programmed to do different things. You can do that either through the phone app, which I recommend because it's just easier to do it. But alternatively, if you are on the go and you don't have your phone handy, you can do almost everything through the watch itself. In order to do that, we can just slide down from the top, and very familiar if you already have a Samsung phone, very familiar with this quick toggle menu. So you can configure it the way you want. But right now we need to go into settings, and once we go into settings, we're gonna see like all the settings of the watch. So in order to configure the buttons, is very self-explanatory. You just go in the menu section that says buttons and gestures. Once you do that, you have action, which is the middle button, like I said. If you press on this, it will give you a few different options, but they're very limited actually. You can either have it do nothing, which is kind of stupid, because why would you have a big orange button in the middle of the watch and not have it do anything? You can either have it, if you somebody who likes to go to the beach a lot, or is just swim in swimming pools a lot, this is actually very good features. You can have it activate the water lock, which will just disable the display, so it won't respond to touch or anything, and then it won't be activated by water. But I prefer mine to activate actually the Samsung Health, and then once you do that, you can program it to do like activate Samsung Health by a quick press. You know, it immediately opens different exercises which you can also customize. Alternatively, you can do like a long press. You can press it for 5 seconds and it will activate a siren. Why don't we do that just now, just so you can see what the siren sounds like. And here's the siren. It's kind of starts soft, but then gradually it will pick up speed, and after this timer is over, it will be very loud. Yeah, it's pretty fucking loud. And then the home button, which would be the one on the top with the orange line, you can also double press it to activate Bixby, and press and hold to activate Google Assistant, but all those can be switched around. And finally, the back button, you also have the same functions: the short press, go to previous screen, and or show recent apps. So there is very limited functionality of the home and back button, which is unfortunate. However, very limited functionality of the back button and the action button, but the home button actually, you can pretty much program it to do anything you want. You have all those options here. You know, you can activate any app with it. So I have it configured to activate by the two assistants. So yeah, I'm not gonna go through all the features in the menu, but it's pretty self-explanatory, and it has quite a bit of adjustability. Now, in order to change the watch face, you can again either do it through the app on your Samsung phone, or you can just press and hold the display, and then very easily you can pick between different watch faces. And alternatively, you can also customize them by adding different stuff: style, color, hands, night mode, complications. The complications are all those extra all those extra stuff it shows you beside the time, you know, the little circles, the little black circles. You can configure them to show you different things. So I'm gonna put it on right now so you can see what it looks on the hand, on my wrist. It's not the easiest thing to put on. Actually, I ordered a metal band which is magnetic, which I think it will be much easier to put on and off, but it's not so bad. There's one very cool feature of this watch. You can in the software, so this is what it looks on the wrist. Pretty cool looking watch, I might say, although I wish it wasn't painted. I wish it was just exposed titanium. In my opinion, it would have looked way nicer with exposed titanium and make it look more premium and stylish, but it is what it is. So the feature I wanted to tell you about is that in the software of the watch you can decide on which wrist you want to wear it. I think we have to go here in general, advanced features, accessibility tips, there you go, and here in general, and orientation. So here you select which wrist you want to wear it, left or right, and also you can select on which side you want the buttons to be, which is pretty cool. And all it does is just switches, it flips the display. So if I wanted the buttons to be on the other side, it will just flip the display. So suddenly I have to take my watch off. I'm gonna flip it around because, as you can see, it looks identical on all sides except now it just comes to my mind, except that this little arrow, if the buttons are low, why don't we just do it in real time and see how it would work. So let's say I want the buttons to be on the inside, on the side of my hand. So let's go to general, we go to orientation, and let's say the buttons want to be on the left side. So now the watch flipped. Okay, so let's go back to the home, and in order to have them on the other side, obviously I have to flip it around. So yeah, you see, that's a problem, because although everything looks fine, this little arrow here, instead of being centered in the 12 o'clock, now it will be centered in the 6 o'clock. So yeah, that's not a big deal, I guess, but it might bother some people. So let's go back to the orientation I prefer. I have to say that the watch is very responsive. There's virtually no delay in any of the UI interactions. So another cool feature is you can also select what to show here. You have a limited number, I think there are 14 or 15 of those screens, but you can play around, and I guess think of this as like a quick access to your most useful features. For example, I have mine first set as reminders. Yeah, actually the first one is assistant. Then I have reminders, calendar. This is the YouTube controls. That's an app that somebody recommended. It's supposed to measure temperature, but it's not very accurate, so I might remove it. Step counter, blah blah blah, and all kinds of other cool stuff. This is not a very good thing. It's voice message. It connects to WhatsApp, and immediately you select a contact, and it will immediately start sending a voice message. Alternatively, if you don't want to just do this, you can scroll around the bezel. Like if you have used Samsung watches, some of their previous generations had the bezel actually physically being able to rotate, but now they have to opt for a virtual one. There is like a kind of a vibration vibration feedback, so you get a little bit of physical feedback. Definitely not as good as a physical one, but I think the reason why they did it that way is probably to make the watch water resistant, and just less moving parts, and less possibility that dust particles will get inside. And this watch is supposed to be able you're supposed to be able to use this watch in kind of a harsh conditions, camping, mountain climbing, swimming, being on the beach all day. And yeah, so there is not much else to say about it. The You can make voice calls with it. You can listen to voice messages with it. The sound quality is not too bad. Um, it's not super loud, but loud enough. If you put it close to your face, you'll be able to hear. The microphone is pretty good too, and overall, it's a solid watch. It's rather on the expensive side. There are definitely watches out there which are way cheaper than this one, and they can do almost everything than this one can, minus, let's say, that perhaps the sensors on the back won't be as high end, won't be as precise, and just the overall build quality will be nowhere near. I think the only watch on the market that gets close to this one is the Apple Ultra. Um, we don't know who stole whose idea. A lot of people likes to say that Samsung got inspired by Apple because of the shape and materials and the color scheme and all that. But actually, we've had rectangular watches way before Apple even existed. So no, we're getting inspired by all kinds of stuff. Apple did not invent the watch. Samsung did not invent the watch. So yeah, they're just two companies that are very close. They are competing in terms of who makes the best product, but it's always gonna be subjective which one is the best. I use Samsung. I have a Samsung phone, so it makes no sense for me to get an Apple Watch, and the same would apply for somebody who uses an iPhone. That being said, I think pretty much sums up everything there is to say about this watch. It's a good one. It's too expensive, but if I think it's gonna last. I think it's very well built, and I was willing to spend the extra money and have a peace of mind that it won't break the first time I drop it. So far, this is how you get into your apps. All you have to do is scroll up, and that's where all your apps live. Um, if you have a one thing I really like is that you have a fully functional WhatsApp app with all your chats are here, and It has built-in GPS, stands alone. Um, Technically, you should be able to use Google Maps without your phone being nearby. It has the Play Store, plus all the other usual features like calendar and weather and alarm and pictures. Although, who the hell wants to look at pictures on their watch? Which is why I have no pictures here, because it's kind of stupid just to have pictures. One cool thing is that if you open the camera on your phone, you can use the watch as a visor. You can also, I think, use the watch to control your camera. And all your notifications will show up over here. It says syncing data right now, which is because I probably had it off for a while. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The display is mega bright. You see, I have it nowhere near at the maximum brightness, so if you put it at maximum brightness, it's like a little sun. It's super bright. And yeah, I've never felt the need to put it at maximum brightness, and it has auto brightness features, so it will adjust accordingly based on the light conditions. And that sums it up. I hope you liked this video. As you can tell, I'm definitely not a YouTuber, so please do not subscribe to my channel, and do not like this video. Peace out.